ever had a moment where your whole world flips upside down in the time it takes to turn a doorknob? I'm talking about that split second where everything you thought you knew just shatters. Well, I'm Clara Washington. I'm 70 years old, and 6 months ago, I had that moment. And baby, what I did after that? Some folks call it savage. Some call it justice. Me, I call it necessary. But let me back up, because you need to understand the whole story to understand why I did what I did. And trust me, by the time I'm done telling you this, you're going to have opinions. Strong ones. Some of you are going to say I was right. Some are going to say I was wrong. But every single one of you is going to understand why I made the choices I made. My name is Clara Marie Washington. I was born in 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama, raised in Chicago, and I've been living in Atlanta for the past 30 years. I'm a retired registered nurse. Worked at Grady Memorial Hospital for 35 years. I've seen everything you can imagine in those emergency room doors. Gunshot wounds, car accidents, mothers losing babies, babies losing mothers. I thought I'd seen it all. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what I was about to go through with my own family. I have one son, just one. His name is Marcus Anthony Washington. And that boy has been the center of my universe since the day I pushed him into this world 45 years ago. His father, my husband Jerome, passed away from a heart attack when Marcus was only 12 years old. So it was just me and my boy against the world. I worked double shifts, triple shifts sometimes, to make sure he had everything he needed. Good school, nice clothes, opportunities I never had. And Marcus, he made me proud. Got his degree in engineering from Georgia Tech, got himself a good job at an aerospace company, bought himself a nice house in Decatur. And then, 7 years ago, he brought her home. Monique. Now, I'm going to be real with you. When Marcus first introduced me to Monique Richardson, I had my doubts. Not because she wasn't pretty, because Lord knows that girl was beautiful. Smooth brown skin, long natural hair she wore in the most gorgeous twists, a smile that could light up a room. And she was educated too, had her master's degree in marketing, worked for some big firm downtown. On paper, Monique was perfect. But there was something about her, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. You know how sometimes you just get a feeling about a person? Like your spirit is trying to tell you something your mind hasn't figured out yet. That's what I felt with Monique. But I pushed it down. I told myself I was just being an overprotective mother. You know, the stereotype. No woman is ever good enough for your son. I didn't want to be that mother-in-law, the one everybody talks about at family gatherings, rolling their eyes about how she can't let go. So I welcomed Monique into our family. I smiled. I hugged her. I invited her to Sunday dinners. When Marcus proposed to her after 2 years of dating, I threw her a bridal shower at my house. I helped her pick out flowers for the wedding. I stood up in that church and watched my baby boy marry this woman, and I prayed. Oh, how I prayed that I was wrong about that feeling in my gut. The wedding was beautiful. Cascade United Methodist Church, 200 guests, ivory and gold everywhere. Monique's family was nice enough. Her mama, Patricia, was sweet, though a little bougie for my taste. Always talking about their vacation home in Martha's Vineyard and their country club membership. Her daddy, Richard, was quiet, the kind of man who let his wife do all the talking. They had money, that was clear. Old money, the kind that comes with expectations. Marcus and Monique bought a house in Brookfield. Nice neighborhood, good schools for when the grandbabies came. That's what I was looking forward to. Grandbabies. I'd always imagined myself as a grandmother, spoiling little ones, teaching them to bake my mama's sweet potato pie, taking them to church on Sundays. But the grandbabies never came. We're focusing on our careers right now, Mama, Marcus would tell me whenever I ask. We want to be financially stable first, travel a bit. We've got time. And I understood that. Young people today, they think different than we did. I had Marcus at 25, but these days, that's considered young. So I backed off, stopped asking, just waited. The first 5 years of their marriage seemed fine. They came to Sunday dinner almost every week. Monique would help me in the kitchen sometimes, though I noticed she never really learned how to cook. Always said she was too busy to learn family recipes. That should have been another sign, but I let it slide. Not every woman likes to cook, I told myself. Times are different. Marcus seemed happy. That's all that mattered to me. My boy had a good job, a beautiful wife, a nice home. He was living the American dream. The dream I'd worked so hard to give him the foundation for. But then things started to change. About 2 years ago, I noticed Marcus looked tired. Not just regular tired. So tired. The kind of tired that settles into your bones and makes you look 10 years older than you are. He started missing Sunday dinners. When he did come, he was quiet, distracted. Monique would do all the talking, going on and on about her job, her promotions, her business trips. Business trips. She took a lot of those. At least 2 or 3 times a month she'd be gone for a few days. Client meetings, conference in Miami, strategist session in New York. And Marcus would be home alone. I started calling him more during those times. "You doing okay, baby?" I'd ask. "I'm fine, Mama," he'd say, but his voice said different. "You and Monique doing all right?" "Yeah, Mama, we're good. Just busy, work and all." But a mother knows. A mother always knows when something's wrong with her child. I could hear it in his voice, see it in his eyes when I looked at him. My boy was hurting, and he wouldn't tell me why. Then came that Tuesday afternoon, April 23rd. I'll never forget that date as long as I live. I had given Marcus and Monique a key to my house years ago. In case of emergency, I told them, "If y'all ever need anything, day or night, you can come here."
Monique used that key more than Marcus did. She'd sometimes stop by to drop off something or pick up some greens I'd cooked for them or just to use my bathroom if she was in the neighborhood. I never minded. That's what family does, right? You trust each other with keys, with access, with your home. That Tuesday, I wasn't supposed to be home. I had a doctor's appointment at 2 o'clock, and usually those things take forever. You know how it is. You get there on time and then sit in that waiting room for an hour before they call you back. But that day was different. Dr. Jenkins was running early for once in his life. I was in and out in 45 minutes. By 1:30, I was pulling back into my driveway on Cascade Road. And that's when I saw it. A silver Lexus parked on the street in front of my house. Not in my driveway, on the street. Like someone was trying to be discreet, but not doing a very good job of it. I didn't recognize the car. I knew it wasn't Marcus's black BMW, and it wasn't Monique's white Mercedes. For a second, I thought maybe one of the neighbors had company, but something told me to pay attention. That same something that had been whispering warnings about Monique for 7 years. I parked in my garage, like always, came in through the kitchen door. The house was quiet, but not the normal kind of quiet. It was the kind of quiet that feels wrong, like when you walk into a room and you can tell people just stop talking about you. I set my purse down on the kitchen counter, took off my shoes. My feet were hurting, they always do after I've been sitting too long. I was about to go into the living room and turn on my stories. The Young and the Restless was about to come on, when I heard it. A laugh. A woman's laugh. Coming from upstairs. From my guest's bedroom. Now, I live alone, have ever since Jerome passed, so there shouldn't be anybody upstairs making any kind of noise at all. I stood there in my kitchen, my hands still on the counter, my heart starting to beat a little faster. Maybe I'd left the TV on upstairs, I thought. But I knew I hadn't. I'm meticulous about turning things off. Old habit from growing up poor. You don't waste electricity. Then I heard it again. That laugh. And this time I heard something else. A man's voice. Low. Deep. Saying something I couldn't make out. And then I heard her voice. Clear as day. Monique. Stop, she was saying, but in that playful way, that way that means keep going. We have to be quick. She'll be back soon. My blood ran cold. My hand gripped that counter so tight, my knuckles went white. For a moment, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what I was hearing, trying to find any explanation that wasn't the one that was screaming at me. But there was no other explanation. My daughter-in-law, my son's wife, the woman I had welcomed into my family, was in my guest bed with a man I had never seen in my life. A brown-skinned brother, looked to be in his 30s, fit, well-dressed clothes thrown on my chair, and Monique wearing nothing but one of my guest's robes, the cream-colored one I kept in that room's closet. They didn't hear me at first. They were too wrapped up in each other, and I just stood there, frozen, watching the betrayal unfold in real time. Then Monique turned her head. Our eyes met. I have never in my life seen someone's face change so fast. The pleasure drained right out of her expression, replaced with pure terror. Her mouth fell open. She pushed the man off of her, scrambled to pull the robe closed. "Clara," she gasped, this isn't. The man turned around, saw me, and jumped up so fast he almost fell. He was grabbing for his pants, his shirt, his shoes, moving like the house was on fire. His face was pure panic, guilty panic. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, we weren't." He couldn't even form a complete sentence. I still hadn't said a word. I was just standing there in the doorway, looking at them, looking at her. And you know what I saw in Monique's eyes after that first flash of terror? I saw calculation. I saw her mind working, trying to figure out what to say, what to do, how to fix this. But you can't fix this. Some things, once that's broken, they stay broken. "Get out," I finally said. My voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that's more frightening than yelling. "Both of you, get out of my house right now." The man didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed his things and ran past me like the devil himself was chasing him. I heard him stumbling down the stairs, heard my front door slam, heard his car start up and tear down the street. Monique stood up, clutching that rope around her. "Clara, please, let me explain. This isn't what you think."
"This isn't what I think?" I repeated her words back to her slowly. "I just walked into my own guest bedroom and found you in bed with another man. What exactly am I supposed to think, Monique?" She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, like a fish out of water. "It's complicated," she finally said. "Marcus and we've been having problems." Problems? I let that word hang in the air. "So your solution to problems in your marriage is to bring another man into your mother-in-law's house, into my house. I didn't think you'd be home." She said it like that made it better. Like the problem wasn't what she was doing, but that she got caught. That's when something inside me shifted. Up until that moment, I was in shock. But hearing her say that, with that tone in her voice, like she was the victim here, like this was somehow an unfortunate miscalculation rather than a betrayal, that's when the shock turned into something else. Something cold and clear and focused. "Get dressed," I said, "and get out of my house." "Clara, please, we need to talk about this. You can't tell Marcus. Please, it will destroy him." "I can't tell Marcus?" My voice rose for the first time. "You did this, Monique. You destroyed your own marriage. Don't you dare try to put this on me." She started crying then, real tears running down her face, mascara making black tracks on her cheeks. "I made a mistake. Please, Clara, I'm begging you. Marcus doesn't need to know. It will kill him. You know it will. He loves me so much." And that right there, that's what really got me. Because she was right. Marcus did love her, loved her with everything he had. And yes, finding out about this would destroy him. My baby boy, my only child, the man I had raised to be good and honest and faithful, he would be shattered by this. I looked at Monique standing there in my robe, crying her crocodile tears, and I made a decision. But it wasn't the decision she thought I was making. Get dressed, I said, and leave your key to my house on the kitchen counter before you go. Does that mean, are you going to tell him? I didn't answer. I just turned and walked out of that room, went downstairs to my kitchen, and stood at the sink. My hands were shaking so bad, I had to grip the edge of the counter to steady them. I heard her moving around upstairs, heard the guest room door close, heard water running in the bathroom. Then I heard her footsteps on the stairs, heard her pause in the kitchen, heard the small clank of a key on the counter. "Clara," she said from behind me, "please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I didn't turn around, didn't look at her, just waited until I heard the front door open and close. Waited until I heard her car start up and drive away. Then I let myself break. I sank down onto my kitchen floor and I cried like I hadn't cried since Jerome died. Cried for my son and what this was going to do to him. Cried for the grandchildren I might never have now. Cried for the family dinners that would never be the same. Cried for the trust that had been violated in my own home. I don't know how long I sat there on that floor. Eventually, the tears stopped. Eventually, I pulled myself up, washed my face, and sat down at my kitchen table. And that's when my nurse brain kicked in. The part of me that learned to assess situations, make treatment plans, think clearly under pressure. I had a choice to make. Tell Marcus immediately what I seen, or wait. If I told him right away, it would be my word against hers. Monique would deny it, or minimize it, or make up some story. That man I seen, whoever he was long gone. There was no proof of what I witnessed. And Monique, she was smart. She'd find a way to spin this, make me look like a jealous mother-in-law who never liked her, who was trying to break up her marriage. But then if I waited, if I was patient, if I gathered evidence, I thought about Marcus, about how he'd been looking lately. Tired, sad, distant. This wasn't the first time, I realized. This wasn't a one-time mistake. You don't bring your lover to your mother-in-law's house if it's the first time you're cheating. You do that when you're comfortable with it, when you've been doing it for a while. How long? I wondered. How long had this been going on? And more importantly, how could I prove it? I got up from that table and went upstairs to the guest room bedroom, stripped the sheets off the bed, threw them in the washing machine on the hottest setting, cleaned that room top to bottom, scrubbed it like I could scrub away what had happened there. But I couldn't. It was burned into my memory now, a permanent stain on my home, on my family. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in my bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Should I call Marcus right now, tell him what I saw? But it was already past midnight, and what would I say? "Son, I caught your wife cheating in my house today?" Over the phone? No. If I was going to tell him, it had to be in person. It had to be with evidence he couldn't deny. My phone rang the next morning at 7 a.m. It was Monique. "Clara, can we please talk? I don't have anything to say to you, Monique. Please, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But I need to explain. It's not what it looked like. It looked like you were in bed with another man in my house. What else could it be?" She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Marcus and we haven't been intimate in over a year. He works all the time. He's never home. I've been lonely, Clara. So lonely. And Devin, he's been there for me." "Devin?" So that was his name, and she just told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was an affair. With a name. With a history. How long? I asked. What? How long have you been seeing Devin? Another pause. 8 months. 8 months. While my son worked overtime to provide for her, to give her the life she wanted, she'd been betraying him for 8 months? Maybe longer. 8 months, I repeated, letting those words sink in. And where does Marcus think you are when you're with this Devin? Working late, business trips, girls' nights. Her voice had gotten smaller with each word. She knew how bad it sounded. So you've been lying to him for 8 months, every single day, looking him in the eye and lying. Clara, you don't understand what it's like. The pressure from my family, from his family, everyone expecting us to be perfect, to have the perfect marriage, the perfect house, the perfect life. Marcus is never there emotionally. He doesn't talk to me anymore, doesn't touch me. I felt invisible. So instead of talking to your husband about your problems, instead of going to marriage counseling, instead of trying to fix what was broken, you decided to sneak around with another man. I know it was wrong. I know that. But Clara, please, I'm asking you, mother to mother, woman to woman, don't tell Marcus, not yet. Give me a chance to end things with Devin. Give me a chance to fix my marriage. Please. Mother to mother, she really said that to me, like we were equals in this situation, like she had any right to ask me for anything after what she'd done. I need time to think, I said finally. Don't call me again. If I decide to tell Marcus, you'll know. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking again, not from fear this time, but from anger. Pure, righteous anger. At her audacity, at her selfishness, at the way she was trying to manipulate me into protecting her secret. But as I sat there with my coffee getting cold, I realized something. Monique had just given me valuable information. She told me Devin's name. She told me how long it had been going on. She told me her patterns, her alibis, her lies. And she'd made a mistake, a big one. She thought I was going to react emotionally, immediately. She thought I'd either tell Marcus right away, in a fit of anger, or keep quiet to protect him from pain. What she didn't understand was that I was a nurse for 35 years. I knew how to be patient. I knew how to observe. I knew how to document everything and build an undeniable case. That morning, I opened a new composition notebook, the kind with the black and white marbled cover that I used to use for taking notes in nursing school. On the first page, I wrote the date, April 23rd. And then I wrote down everything that had happened, every detail. The time I came home, the silver Lexus, what I heard, what I saw, what Monique said, what she admitted on the phone the next morning. Then I went upstairs to my home office and did something I never thought I'd do. I ordered a security camera system online. 4 cameras, small ones, you could barely see. 1 for the front of my house, 1 for the back, and 2 for inside. The inside ones I was going to put in the living room and the upstairs hallway, angled so they could see the guest bedroom door. Because I had a feeling Monique wasn't done using my house. And next time, I'd have proof. The cameras arrived 3 days later. I had my neighbor's grandson, Jamal, install them for me. He was a good kid, studying computer science at Georgia State. I told him I wanted them for security, which wasn't exactly a lie. Miss Clara, you can access these from your phone. See? You just download this app and you can watch the live feed from anywhere. And it records everything to the cloud. You can go back and watch any day, anytime. Even when I'm not home?
Especially when you're not home. That's the whole point. You'll get an alert on your phone whenever there's motion detected. Perfect. That Sunday, Marcus came to dinner. He came alone. Monique had to work, he said, not meeting my eyes. Big presentation Monday morning. I didn't say anything. Just served him his plate of pot roast, greens, mac and cheese, and cornbread. His favorite meal. The meal I'd been making him since he was a little boy. We ate in silence for a while. I watched him push his food around on his plate, barely eating. My baby looked so tired, so sad. And I was sitting across from him with this terrible knowledge, this awful secret, and I couldn't tell him. Not yet. You doing okay, Marcus? I asked him gently. He looked up at me, and for just a second I saw it. The pain in his eyes, the loneliness. The same thing Monique had complained about, except from his perspective. I'm all right, Mama, just tired. Work's been crazy. How are things with you and Monique? His fork stopped moving. Fine. Why? Just asking, baby. You don't talk about her much anymore. You used to light up when you said her name. He set his fork down, leaned back in his chair, and for a moment, I thought he was going to tell me. I thought he was going to open up about whatever was happening in their marriage. Mama, can I ask you something? Anything, baby. How did you and Daddy keep it together all those years? Even when things were hard, even when he was working double shifts and you barely saw each other. My heart broke a little bit more. We talked, baby. We made time for each other, even when we were exhausted. We remembered why we fell in love in the first place. And we never, ever let other people come between us. He nodded slowly. Did you ever think about leaving when things got hard? Never. Not once. Because I made a vow before God and I meant it, for better or worse. And baby, the worst times make the better times that much sweeter. What if, he started, then stopped. What if the other person isn't as committed as you are? There it was. He knew. Maybe not the details, maybe not Devin's name, but somewhere deep down, Marcus knew his wife wasn't all in. His spirit was trying to tell him what his mind didn't want to accept. Then you have a decision to make, I said carefully. You can either keep trying to save something that the other person is letting die, or you can accept the truth and move forward. I love her, Mama. His voice cracked. I love her so much. I don't know what I'd do without her. I reached across the table and took his hand. I know, baby. I know. What I didn't say was, you're going to find out because I'm going to make sure you know the truth. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon, when I have evidence you can't deny. When I can show you exactly who you married. That conversation with Marcus strengthened my resolve. My son deserved better than a wife who was making a fool of him. He deserved to know the truth, even if it would hurt him, even if it would change everything. Over the next 2 months, I became someone I never thought I'd be. I became a detective in my own son's life. I started paying attention to Monique's social media. She posted everything on Instagram. Pictures of her girls' trips to Miami, her work conferences in Charlotte, her client dinners in Buckhead. I started screenshotting everything, saving every post with dates and times and locations. Then I did something that felt invasive but necessary. I created a fake Instagram account, called myself Keisha Brown, and used a stock photo of a random woman.
I followed Devin. Because yes, I found him. It wasn't hard. Monique had posted a picture months ago from some charity event, tagged a bunch of people. One of them was Devin Mitchell. I went through his followers until I found him. Devin Mitchell, 34 years old, personal trainer, owner of a gym in Midtown called Elite Fitness. A personal trainer. Of course. And once I started following his account, the pieces started falling into place. He'd post pictures from hotels, the same hotels Monique posted from. He'd check in at restaurants, the same restaurants where Monique claimed to be having business dinners. He was sloppy. They both were. They just never expected anyone to be paying attention. I documented everything in my notebook, every suspicious post, every matching location. Every time Monique told Marcus she was working late and Devin posted a picture from some bar in Midtown at the same time, my motion detection cameras caught something too. On a Thursday afternoon in May, my phone buzzed with an alert. I was at the grocery store picking up chicken for Sunday dinner. I pulled up the app on my phone and watched in real time as a silver Lexus pulled into my driveway. Watched as Monique got out, used the key I thought she'd returned, and let herself and Devin into my house. I wanted to drive home right then. Wanted to burst through that door and confront them again. But I didn't. Instead, I sat in my car in the Publix parking lot and I recorded the camera feed on my phone. Watched the timestamp as they went upstairs. 45 minutes later, they came back down. Monique straightened her clothes, fixed her hair. Devin kissed her at the door. Then they left. Her car first, his following 5 minutes later. I had video evidence now. Time-stamped, dated, undeniable. But I still waited. You're probably wondering why. Why I didn't just show Marcus right then and there. Why I kept collecting evidence when I already had enough to prove what Monique was doing. The truth is, I was scared. Scared of what this would do to my son. Scared that he might choose her over the truth. Scared that I'd be blamed for being the messenger. Scared that I'd lose him forever. And there was something else too. I wanted to make absolutely sure that when I did tell him, there would be no way for Monique to talk her way out of it. No way for her to make me look like a liar or a troublemaker. I needed the evidence to be so overwhelming, so undeniable, that Marcus would have no choice but to see her for who she really was. So I kept watching, kept documenting, kept praying for guidance. I talked to God a lot during those months. Sat in my prayer closet, the little corner of my bedroom where I kept my Bible and my prayer journal, and I poured my heart out. Lord, show me what to do. Show me when to speak. Give me wisdom. Give me strength. Protect my son. My church family started noticing something was wrong. Sister Margaret pulled me aside after service one Sunday. Clara, baby, you all right? You've been looking troubled. Just dealing with some family things, I told her, which was the truth. You know you can talk to me. Whatever it is, the Lord can handle it. I know, Sister Margaret. I'm praying on it, waiting for God to show me the right time. She squeezed my hand. Well, you know what the word says. There's nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Luke 8:17. The truth always comes to light, baby. Always. Her words stayed with me. The truth always comes to light. In July, Marcus came over looking worse than I'd ever seen him. He'd lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes, looked like he wasn't sleeping. Mama, I need to talk to you about something. My heart started racing. Did he know? Had he found out on his own? What is it, baby? I think Monique might be having an affair. There it was. He'd said it out loud. What makes you think that? I asked carefully. She's just
different, distant. She's always on her phone, always going out. We haven't been intimate in over a year. She says she's tired or stressed or not in the mood, but then she goes out with her friends and comes home at 2 in the morning smelling like cologne that isn't mine. Have you talked to her about it? I've tried. She says I'm being paranoid, says I'm too focused on work to notice what's happening in our marriage. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm the problem. Marcus Anthony Washington, I said firmly, you listen to me. If your wife is cheating on you, that is not your fault. I don't care how many hours you work. I don't care if you're not perfect. Nothing, and I mean nothing, justifies breaking your marriage vows. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. But what if I'm wrong? What if I confront her and I'm wrong? I'll look like a fool. I'll push her away for nothing. This was my moment. I could tell him right now, could show him the videos, the pictures, the evidence I'd been collecting for months, could end his suffering right now. But something held me back. Some instinct that said, not yet. Wait just a little bit longer. I asked him if he thought about hiring a private investigator. I don't have that kind of money, Mama. And even if I did, I don't know if I want to know for sure. You know what I mean? Right now, I can still hope I'm wrong. But if I get proof, then you have to face the truth, I finished for him. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm strong enough for that.
I held my son while he cried that day. This grown man, 45 years old, successful engineer, crying in his mama's arms like he was 5 years old again. And I made a decision right then and there. I was going to give him the truth. Not to hurt him, but to free him. Because living in this uncertainty, this constant doubt, was eating him alive. But I wasn't going to do it quietly. I wasn't going to pull him aside and show him my evidence in private, where Monique could deny it, manipulate him, make him doubt what his own eyes were seeing. No. I was going to do this in a way that left no room for lies, no room for manipulation, no room for her to weasel her way out of what she'd done. I was going to expose her in front of the whole family. And I knew exactly when I was going to do it. Thanksgiving. Every year, I hosted Thanksgiving dinner at my house. It was our family tradition. Marcus and Monique would come, along with Monique's parents, Patricia and Richard, her younger sister Simone, my sister Ruth and her husband Charles, who drove down from Charlotte, and a few close family friends. Usually about 15 people total. Everyone gathered around my dining room table, said grace, and gave thanks for our blessings. This year, Thanksgiving was going to be different. The months between July and November felt like the longest of my life. I kept collecting evidence, kept watching. The cameras caught Monique and Devin 2 more times at my house. My fake Instagram account tracked their movements. I had screenshots of text messages that Monique had carelessly posted on her Instagram stories. Messages that popped up at the top of her screen from D with heart emojis. Missing you. Can't wait to see you tonight. He's working late again. She was talking about my son like he was nothing, like he was just an obstacle to her happiness. I printed everything. Every screenshot, every camera timestamp, every suspicious social media post. Put it all in a folder, organized by date. The evidence was damning, undeniable. Over 6 months of documented proof that Monique Richardson Washington was having an ongoing affair with Devin Mitchell. Marcus came to see me the week before Thanksgiving. He looked a little better, like he'd been trying to convince himself everything was fine. Hey, Mama, just wanted to confirm we're still on for Thursday. Monique wants to know what she can bring. Tell her to bring whatever she wants, I said. I've got the turkey and the sides covered.
She's been better lately, he said, almost like he was trying to convince himself. More present. We've been talking more. I think maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was just being paranoid. My heart ached for him. He was grasping at straws, desperate to believe his marriage was okay. Meanwhile, just last week, my cameras had caught Monique letting herself into my house while I was at church. She'd gotten bold, careless. She'd stopped even trying to hide. "That's good, baby," I said, hugging him. "I'm glad y'all are working things out." The lie tasted bitter in my mouth, but it was the last lie I was going to tell him. In 4 days, he would know everything. Thanksgiving morning, I was up at 5 a.m. I cooked like I'd never cooked before. Turkey, ham, collard greens, mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, cornbread dressing, cranberry sauce from scratch, dinner rolls, and 3 pies: sweet potato, pecan, and lemon meringue. The food wasn't really the point, but cooking kept my hands busy and my mind from spiraling into anxiety about what was coming. Sister Margaret called me around noon. "Clara, I've been praying for you all morning. I don't know what's happening today, but the Lord put you heavy on my heart." "Pray for my strength," I told her, "and pray for my son. He's going to need it." "The truth coming out today?" "Yes, ma'am, it is." "Then I'll be praying for all of you. Remember, baby, the truth hurts, but lies destroy. You're doing the right thing." People started arriving around 2 o'clock. My sister Ruth came first, arms full of Tupperware with her famous potato salad and banana pudding. Her husband Charles right behind her with folding chairs from their car. "Clara, girl, you've outdone yourself," Ruth said, looking at my dining room table covered in food. "This looks like something out of a magazine." Marcus and Monique arrived at 2:30. Marcus was smiling, looking more relaxed than I'd seen him in months. Monique was wearing a burgundy dress, her hair perfect, her makeup flawless. She kissed my cheek like nothing had ever happened between us. "Happy Thanksgiving, Clara. Everything looks beautiful." I smiled back. "Thank you, baby. It's going to be a Thanksgiving nobody forgets." Something in my tone must have registered because her smile faltered just for a second. But then her parents arrived and she turned her attention to greeting them. By 3 o'clock, everyone was there. 15 people crammed into my dining room and living room, plates piled high with food, laughter and conversation filling my house. It was beautiful. It was family. And I was about to blow it all apart. I waited until everyone had fixed their plates and sat down. Waited until Marcus stood up to say grace like he did every year. Waited until we were all holding hands around the table, heads bowed. "Before we pray," I said, my voice cutting through the comfortable chatter, "I have something I need to share." Everyone looked at me. Marcus smiled, probably thinking I was going to give some sweet speech about being grateful for family. "Marcus, baby, I need you to know that I love you more than anything in this world. Everything I've ever done has been to protect you and take care of you. And what I'm about to do, I'm doing because I love you." His smile faded. "Mama, what are you talking about?"
"I'm not lying," I said calmly. I opened the folder and pulled out the first picture. The screenshot of my security camera showing Monique and Devon entering my house on April 23rd at 1:47 p.m. I placed it on the table in front of Marcus. This is the first time I caught them. In my house. In my guest bedroom. Monique lunged for the picture, but her sister Simone grabbed her arm. "Let her finish," Simone said quietly. I pulled out more pictures. The camera footage from May showing them arriving together.
The screenshots from Instagram showing Devon at the same hotels where Monique claimed to be on business trips. The text message screenshots from her phone that she'd carelessly let show in her Instagram stories. Page after page after page of evidence. Marcus picked up each picture with shaking hands. His face was going through so many emotions I couldn't keep track. Confusion, disbelief, recognition, pain, so much pain. Marcus, baby, I'm sorry. Monique was crying now, reaching for him across the table. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I love you. I love you so much. You love him? Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. He was staring at a screenshot of a text message from Devon that said, "Can't wait to have you in my bed again." This is how you show love? Marcus, please, let me explain. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. Please, baby, don't do this here. Not in front of everyone. Not in front of everyone. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell backward. You've been screwing another man for 8 months, and you're worried about being embarrassed in front of everyone? Patricia, Monique's mother, finally found her voice. Clara, how could you do this? On Thanksgiving? In front of the whole family? This is cruel. This is vindictive. Vindictive? I turned to face her. Your daughter has been using my house to cheat on my son for 6 months. She's been lying to him, humiliating him, making a fool of him. And I'm vindictive for telling the truth? Richard, Monique's father, had been quiet this whole time. Now he spoke, his voice heavy with disappointment. Monique, is this true? All of it? Monique collapsed back into her chair, her face in her hands. Daddy, Yes, it's true. The admission hung in the air like smoke. There was no taking it back now. No denying it, no explaining it away. Marcus was still standing at the table, staring at all that food that nobody had eaten. All that work I put in for a meal that would go to waste. Mama, he said finally, why didn't you tell me sooner? Why did you wait 6 months? I came around the table and took his hands. Because I needed to make sure. I needed to have proof that she couldn't deny. And I needed you to see who she really was, not just hear it from me. I asked you in July. I told you I thought she was cheating, and you didn't say anything. I know, baby, and I'm sorry for that. But if I told you then, with just my word, she would have denied it. She would have made you doubt me, made you doubt yourself. This way, there's no doubt. You saw the evidence. You know the truth. He was quiet for a long time. Then he sat down, put his head in his hands, and started to cry. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from somewhere in his soul. I sat next to him and held him, just like I'd done when he was a little boy and the world hurt him. I gave her everything, Mama. Everything, and it wasn't enough. This isn't about you not being enough, Marcus. This is about her being broken in a way you couldn't fix. Some people, they don't know how to appreciate what they have until it's gone. 8 months, she looked me in the eye every day and lied to me. I know, baby, I know. We sat there for a long time, surrounded by all that uneaten food. Eventually, Ruth came back, had let herself in with her key. She didn't say anything, just started putting food in containers, cleaning up. That's what family does. They show up, they help carry the burden. The next few months were hard. Marcus filed for divorce the Monday after Thanksgiving. Monique tried to fight it at first, tried to claim she deserved half of everything. But Marcus's lawyer used my evidence, all of it. The Georgia adultery laws meant that Monique walked away with almost nothing. The house, the cars, the savings, all stayed with Marcus. She tried to reach out to me a few times, left voicemails saying I destroyed her life, that I was a bitter old woman who couldn't stand to see her son happy. I never called her back, never responded. She wasn't worth my energy. Devon? Turns out he was married too. His wife found out about the affair when Monique started calling him after the Thanksgiving disaster. Last I heard, he was also getting divorced and his gym was struggling financially. What goes around comes around, my mama used to say. The chickens always come home to roost.
Marcus struggled for a while. Had some dark days where he didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to eat, didn't want to see anybody. But slowly, with time and therapy and prayer, he started to heal. Started to see that the end of his marriage wasn't the end of his life. "Mama," he said to me one Sunday, about a year after that Thanksgiving, "I want to thank you." "For what, baby?" "For loving me enough to tell me the truth, even when you knew it would hurt me. You could have kept quiet, could have let me keep living that lie. But you loved me more than you feared my pain." Those words meant everything to me, because that's exactly what it was. I loved him more than I feared his pain. And in the end, that's what real love is. Not keeping someone comfortable in a lie, but giving them the truth, even when it's hard. My name is Clara Washington. I'm 71 years old now. And last Thanksgiving, we had dinner at my house again. Just me, Marcus, my sister Ruth and her family, and a few close friends. We said grace, we ate turkey. We laughed and talked and gave thanks for our blessings. And we were free. Free from lies, free from betrayal. Free from fake family members who smiled in your face while stabbing you in the back. Some people still think I was wrong for how I handled it. Think I should have told Marcus privately, not in front of the whole family. They say I embarrassed Monique unnecessarily, that I was cruel. But you know what? Monique embarrassed herself. She made the choice to cheat. She made the choice to lie. She made the choice to bring her lover into my house, to disrespect my home and my family. All I did was shine a light on what she'd been doing in the dark. The truth isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's messy and painful and devastating, but it's still the truth. And everybody deserves to know the truth about their own life, even when it hurts. Would I do it again the same way? Absolutely. Because my son deserved better than living a lie. He deserved the chance to rebuild his life on a foundation of truth, not on the shaky ground of deception. If you've listened to my whole story, I want you to think about something. If you knew someone you loved was being betrayed, what would you do? Would you stay quiet to keep the peace, or would you speak up to set them free? It's not an easy choice, but I've learned that love sometimes requires you to be the bearer of painful truths. And if you really love someone, you'll give them the truth, even when it costs you something. My son doesn't speak to Monique anymore. Last I heard, she moved to Florida, trying to start over somewhere nobody knows her story. I hope she's learned something from all this. I hope she's become a better person. As for Marcus, he's dating again. Slowly, carefully. And this time he's asking the right questions, looking for the right things. Not just someone who looks good on his arm, but someone with character, with integrity, with respect for marriage vows. And me, I'm at peace. Some nights I still think about that Tuesday afternoon when I turned my doorknob and my world changed forever. But I don't regret what I did. Not for 1 second. Because the truth always comes to light. Always.
And I'd rather be the one to bring it into the light carefully than let it explode in the darkness and destroy everything in its path.